Super. Kia ora koutou, nau mai, haere mai, and welcome to this meeting of the Cromwell Community Board. Before we start, I'd like to say a huge welcome back to Louise Vandervoort, who's been off in foreign councils. Thank you. In the Waitaki. So it's wonderful to have you back here, and it's really we know that you've been a champion for the Cromwell Community Board for a long time within our council, so we really appreciate your input. Saskia, we loved having you as well, so it's great that you're in the meeting today. Our first item is apologies, and we have full house here today, so there's no reason to go through those. And our next item is that we do have somebody for our public forum. I'd like to welcome Janice from the Central Otago Public.
Indeed.
Okay. Cool. You're welcome to sit with them if you wish and be there as well, or you know.
Now.
Yeah, right now.
So yeah, I'm EMD, I'm president of Central Otago Pony Club. And we are made up of 5 branches in that could be 5 of a long-term community. And so there's the race course reserve plan. Don't go to consultation, but I've written something to who to go to.
No, they
Haven't seen it.
No.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I expect to write something to go to the board. Just so it's no application. So basically, we're not going to be left with enough land to run across country courses. But the plan goes. So obviously, we've done we can settle that one. And also the plan so far taken away to rugby fields out of Anderson Park. One's going to be a playing field, which is pretty excessive. This kind of playing field, I find that just to run a lot of it. Yeah, it's good class. Can carry on. And then also on the plan is community events and requests that have been separated, also separated. And I believe that if council wants Cromwell to be a sports hub for the wider area, which is also a part of this plan, they'll need to buy more land and take bigger contributions from developers as town goes. In addition to this, there will be costs for us involved to pull apart the existing cross country, and then time frame where riders, not just from our club that use it, from quite a wide area, will use this for training as well as competing, and then on top of that, the costs and reinstating the course, and who's going to be paying for this stuff. That's my first.
Thank you so much for coming and speaking with us today. I do think that within the public meetings that we've had so far, that those thoughts have definitely been shared. And of course, we haven't seen, I don't know who your document was sent to, but we haven't seen it at this stage, and I don't think that I think that today's draft is before things go out for community consultation. So I would definitely encourage you to put a submission into that consultation, or take part in that, so that your voice is heard, because this is still very much at a draft stage where we're figuring out what's going to work or not work for our community and for all the range of sports that might be represented. Has anyone else got any questions or comments for you today?
I've just got one.
Yeah.
Just wanted to check. I think there's 2 cross-country courses in the Alex area.
No, the one in Alexandra has been disbanded. It's too difficult for them to run.
Yeah.
This is just maintaining it like that. It was just fun.
I thought there's not a private one. that people use.
I don't know.
No. Kiri Valley. No, it's a subdivision now. That's where we used to go, and then it's just the one that's on the next road.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just two agricultural, but in the middle of the shops now, not in good enough condition to run it. Without a lot of money, probably their only one of them. Because that one has a lease on it, doesn't it? Do you know that? Yes. The only one has a lease on the Ed Reserve, but it's been taken over from, was the Waldron thing we did previously. Yeah,
But that was fine, too hard to maintain.
that's the problem with a lot of young here, isn't it? Yeah. Seem to be a recurring thing.
Yes.
They have been aside from that one, what other facilities are available within those 5 training clubs that you mentioned?
I mean, each club has its own area, but it's not really cross-country grounds. Most branches will continue on training on there. And otherwise, you have to go down Southland, and they're not open. They're treatment.
Okay. Anyone else? Thank you very much for your time, and as I said, make sure that when the consultation documents come out that you certainly put in submissions to those. Thank you. Righty-ho, that takes us to page 7 and the confirmation of our minutes from the previous meeting. Do I have a vote and a seconder for those? Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Sarah. All in favour?
Right.
And then to our next item, which is the declaration of interests on page 12, and a reminder to all elected members to stand aside from decision making if there's any conflict that arises between their role as a member and any private or other external interests that you may have. Okay, I'm assuming that is the item 25.2.8, right now approval of the entry. Thank you.
There's one about the Cromwell Lakeshore Council generators where I gave the approval on behalf of Contact Energy, but I didn't want to work there anymore. I don't think there's an issue with that, but I'll just note it, but I'm going to step away from it.
Noted. And then our next item is on page 15, item 25.2.2, which is the draft Cromwell Racecourse Recreation. David.
So over the last couple of years, the board will recall receiving several reports over the requirements of sports grounds in the Cromwell area, and they've all noted that there will be a shortage due to the continued growth of the population in Cromwell. The Cromwell Racecourse Reserve was identified as having potential to host both equestrian and wider recreational activities on the one site, essentially being a sports hub for the area. Several meetings have been held with relevant stakeholders who assisted with developing the draft recreation plan that's before you today. I guess one of the first questions was, can the racecourse hold both equestrian and the wider sort of recreational activities? And as the report shows, it can at this stage, and they can comfortably fit into one site with some reorganisation within the sites of what's there existing there now. There was initial thoughts that we could also use Cromwell College grounds. However, more investigation with Cromwell College show that the grounds are actually fully utilised with their sport and some limited community use as well. The draft plan shows Alpha Street site potentially unchanged. It does show that through the process there was a request from, I think it was Cricket, for their pitch to be aligned outside the rugby fields. So that is shown on the draft plans and shows there's one rugby pitch there and then a half hockey turf or artificial turf for practice there in place of the other rugby field. So we'll be seeking some feedback on how that would work. And I guess for the first 5 years, for that medium term, roughly, you would see 4 fields plus car parking and facilities going at the racecourse. And in the longer term, you see the full 8 field, and that's up to about 2045, so it's quite some way off. Yet, but the plan shows where things will go over time, and it also shows other facilities such as indoor equestrian and potentially indoor stadium, sports stadium, something for the area a lot of long-term plans away. So the next step is to consult the community, as you've said earlier, and stakeholders on the proposal. And we are planning on doing that through the reserve management plan process, because the reserve management plan currently is 25 years old and is, I guess, out of date for incorporating such a process or changing the sporting and recreational activities that are out there. So we're planning on using that submission process to receive feedback on this plan as well. The board should know that nothing, typically it's not committing you to any funding. It's just going to hear what the community is telling us on whether we've got it right or we need to tweak it, or it's not going to work at all. But it'd be great to hear that, and the board will hear those submissions in due course on that. So there'll be, I guess, 2 things to hear at the time. One will be what we had feedback on the recreation plan and how that fits in with the reserve management plan process. But we'll work out how that will play out. We'll see what sort of submissions we get. So we're happy that you understand anything. Otherwise, we can answer any questions.
Questions?
So a starting point is always an important part of consultation. So as a starting point, why were the fields not put next to Rippenvale Road, sort of closest to the highway? Was there much background on that we can share?
So
The last public meeting, at the last meeting of stakeholders, that was discussed, and I think it was around the amount of space around the fields wasn't going to be adequate for them, although technically you could fit 2 fields in there, that the space around them didn't actually measure up. Is that right?
Access also, there'll be 2 lumps, like 2 lumps getting around on a couple east and northwest, so south. And so it was a better fit having in that area above the entrance road rather than below the entrance road. And we would use that other bit for parking and potentially, as you can see, potentially where the indoor stadium might go in the future and things like that. But it's draft, so if people got some bigger ideas, we'll be pleased to hear those and see how that might work as well.
Yeah.
I know you said that it's just going up for submission and funding hasn't been allocated. I was just wondering the process. Would the road, Rippenvale Road, need to be upgraded given the amount of people projected to be attending the facility?
I believe so. We can check that out. There is potential, supposedly a underpass as well going under there for the subdivision up that road. So we're hoping that we'll be able to encourage people to go and use our greenways, go that way as well, or more for access. But yeah, if there's big events, they'll need to use road. And the big events held there now, like the races and picnic days, have events, things.
Yeah, and so I know you've got said that there's a ball up here. Well, if it's identified that based on the numbers using the facility needed, further investment from council, would that have to go into the annual plan? Long-term
plan, that's right. Yeah. And we need to.
That'll be next cycle.
Yeah. Yes, next cycle.
Cool.
Yeah.
I've just got a query actually about, you mentioned the underpass. I noticed on one of the plans it says an underpass on Rippenvale Road. It also somewhere mentions an underpass under the state highway as well.
It's under the state highway, but not for west side of the Rippenvale Road.
Yeah.
It's yet to be determined with that developer.
If you look at the plan, it looks as though it actually comes out just sort of adjacent to the end of the airport runway. Is that correct?
Well, no one knows what's going to come out. They're just an indicator.
No, just indicative, is it?
Yeah.
The requirement after so many sections have been developed is an underpass to be built. Exactly where it goes,
Yeah.
it has to be worked through. Including is you build an underpass, but might be an underpass to win.
Yeah.
It's got to go somewhere. It's got to keep, once you get across under the road, you've got to get out and get and then go somewhere from there.
I've also got another question actually, about Alpha Street. I noticed that, obviously consultation with the football club, there's only one full-size pitch there, but they say that they're running two male teams and a female team as well. Is it going to be sufficient just with one field there?
So I think that's not what happens there. That's what can go on there. So there's two full-size fields, also junior size as well, because soccer football varies in size on who's what age groups are playing. So there's room for both of those, and it depends what gets marked out. The grounds get marked on as required for what the sport is all the time. So yeah, our grounds people just mark those out with what they need on the weekend they need the sport there or what or the practice.
Do you think for the purposes of a first draft for consultation, it should show two full-size fields as a starting point?
I thought so.
I thought that's where we've landed.
But obviously the you have actually consulted with the football club. And I'm surprised they didn't actually bring that up.
Juniors basically, you can play games one after the other for the seniors if you have to, whereas the kids you can't. They've probably got
It does say on the text two full size.
It does say in the text, yeah.
How does it?
Yeah, so just the just
But the way it's
picture
probably been some.
show what can happen. So you can have two or four juniors, which is sort of similar, slightly more than one full size.
Isn't the real idea is by the time we get to the stage where you need to develop these things, that then what you're actually going to put in place may not be exactly what's there. It's about having the space.
Yeah.
That's what this is really about. You look at detail and say, yeah, it's what goes in there and what will go in there at the time, really what's the needs that have worked out to be. That's the most important thing is planning for the future. Because as you said, there's no money attached to this. And clearly, once you start developing fields, then you're going to need some money. You haven't got a plan in the first place, then you're styling what you can or can't do. And then the money will be the next thing. But of course, the most important thing about this process, I think, would be to say, here goes a starting point. This is what we're looking at. These are the spaces. This is what can go here. And for the community to say, well, we like it, hate it, love it, do it, don't do it, whatever. We can, and then get an endable task of deciding whether we should do something or not in the form of a plan.
What's inside the building that is, I mean, I know what's inside it, but the condition of it, which is the utility building down the old,
Alpha Street,
yeah,
number 8.
yeah.
Okay, so
Is
that's
that,
Julie's not here.
no, I know, but I'm just asking,
It's part of the water system.
I know, but what I'm asking is it in a condition that can actually be,
Not really. I mean, it's got a drop down forward. So you actually at the moment there's chemicals and stuff stored in there. That's part of the core infiltration. It will probably be redundant when we upgrade the Cromwell water. So I think that the intention with that one hasn't yet been decided, but if it's no longer needed and it can't be repurposed, then I'm not sure it's of the material that it could be.
so you don't think
It's
it.
got to have windows. Yeah.
So what about the storage for the football club or something? Would it,
Potentially, so that means something work for a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Could have another use as to what. True.
I just wondered what condition it was.
Can't be wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just don't know if it's like inside and it's whether it's actually to be an issue.
Any further discussion?
I just got one final question. In your discussions with what they call actually Central Lakes Equestrian Club, they said that the new board, they're aiming to commission it before the end of 2024. Did they actually do that?
It's up to that value now. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Anything up further? Happy to go back to page 15. So I suppose the thinking here is that at the moment, this is very much a draft plan, and it's about now gathering voice. There is no money attached to it, so it comes under that resource management plan that goes with the racecourse to think about what the future uses of that space will be, but also incorporates other sports grounds already within our town and how they could be reconfigured to better suit the needs of a growing community. So with all those things in mind, the recommendations are that the Cromwell Community Board receives the report and accepts the level of significance, approves in principle the draft Cromwell Racecourse Recreation Plan, and seek public feedback on the plan through the Cromwell Racecourse Recreation Reserve Management Plan consultation process. Gosh, that's quite a FTL sentence there, isn't it? Authorises the Chief Executive Officer to do all that is necessary to give effect to the resolution. We're happy with that? Yeah.
So for one part of it, that B is actually saying is that we're going to do one consultation for A, a draft recreation plan, and B, the reserve management plan. One stop shop.
Yes.
Yeah, well, once, yeah, that's what I'm pretty sure that's what I was reading, but I want to make very clear. So,
Yeah, that's the intent.
the intent that we're doing, this will feed into it. Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
And so, if I may, when?
So we'll need to write a draft, so I think we come back at the May meeting with the draft for them to consult on the draft and we consulted on.
Yes.
We
So this is
this down
permission to put a draft together.
Yeah, commit stuff.
with the plan in the day.
And I guess what also there's a few things that we're working through, consultation items, so just how that was set in the comments as well. Yeah.
The process.
That there's nothing that this process is a long-term process.
Yeah.
There's no action that's going to be taken in the very near future that's going to remove anything from anywhere.
This resolution just sets up, we'll do the recreation management plan. It says that it'll be processed as part of the reserve management plan. And the next item is about processing the reserve management plan.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Favour and a seconder, please. Thanks, Mary. Thank you, Bob. All in favour?
Right.
That takes us to item 25.2.3, notice of intention to prepare a reserve management plan.
Just discussed.
I've got a further question.
Okay, it's on page 64 anyway, the item 4. Yes.
If you're not going to do the process under section 41.5, then your recommendation B doesn't quite make sense, because it says about agrees to notify its intention to prepare. And you're saying in your report to actually bypass that part, starts where it's section 46.
Oh, sorry.
I missed something.
No. Oh, sorry.
If we've already got a plan, we don't need to start with that part.
He was down at 41 cents.
Yeah, so the recommendation wouldn't be to notify its intention to prepare a plan where you're going to prepare, we are going to prepare a draft management plan. Bring it back to us. You know, after consultation.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you're right, actually.
Can I have that clarified in a way that could be made into a resolution? Then, please?
Just agrees to prepare and do this.
So it takes out to
Takes out to notify.
agrees to a reserve management plan.
Well, yeah, I think it's a draft reserve management plan to come back to the board for approval.
Yeah.
But yeah. So there's a bit of a step to go through. So well, you've done the recreation one.
Yeah.
Tick. Let's do the overarching plan that will include that. That comes back to the board. Half the boxes tick the other half of the box, bang, consultation. That's what I understand what you're intending to do.
And you want to be clear on make us see that the community board hear those questions.
Well, no, I think
Number needs report.
I think the draft got to come to us first, because we can't approve a plan to be consulted on unless we've seen it.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, we shouldn't, so we can.
It's
Not forgetting my vote.
So B agrees to prepare a reserve management plan for the Cromwell Racecourse Reserve, or does it agree to prepare a draft reserve management plan? So
That's probably what it needs to say, because it can't go any further because we haven't approved it.
a mover and a seconder, please, unless there's any further conversation. So thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Sarah. All in favour?
Aye.
And that takes us to page 69, item 25.2.4, and it's the Cromwell Hall operating decisions.
It's almost warmer down at home this morning.
Yeah, I
No, I'm not cold. It's not everybody else around, we're getting jackets.
know. Right, so just another run around the board on this one. So what we are doing is we're having a workshop to talk about sort of what we've done in the previous 6 weeks and the first 6 weeks of the workshop. And from the direction that the board gives, we will write a report and come back to take your recommendations. So I'll hand over to Jen to run through that report.
So I'll take the report as read. And as David said, this is the first report following the workshop in February to gain some recommendations on the operations of the Memorial Hall. It's really just to check what we discussed in February is documented accurately and that the board is for those recommendations.
So any questions?
What a serious. She wasn't at the workshop, was it?
I'm more than happy to be involved. So Sarah, can't involve baby shower.
I think the key thing about this.
That's good.
That's the point I had to be there. Wasn't it? I think the key thing about this is it just sets the process that we're following, so we know, and there's no doubt. We're not leaving ourselves in a situation and then we can go back, oh, we might have forgotten something. At least we knew what we did say we were going to do. We pick up the rest and go forward. So, I think, and the idea of the intention to have the regular workshops as well along the way and then bring back reports as it required. And especially as we move ultimately to just becoming, where the board has a different role than what it's currently got under the district funding of these sort of things going forward, and to find out what that is as well. So we might actually get a chance for this process to set up how it's going to happen going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the workshops are a key component of that. The public workshops also means that, the community's all there on board. That's discussions. So that's all good. So a mover and a seconder for recommendations A to G that are up on the board there, so that you don't need me to make them for you. Further discussion, mover and a seconder. Thank you, Neil. Thank you, Wally. All in favour?
Right.
Nice, thanks.
Thank you.
And then that takes us to item 25.3.5, which is the old Cromwell Lakefront Management Plan.
So I'll just suggest Zelda, which is the new team leader for statutory, and is part of the property team. So
Thank you. And Ali and Helen, you guys wanting to participate in this as well? Bring your chairs forward then. So I hope that and having contacted me earlier today to request that this be to that's good. Would you, I think we'll, how about we go with you two first and then we can hear from Zelda and Dan.
Yes, so on behalf of our trust, thanks for putting up this item today. We're basically in agreement with what's been proposed, but I understand there's an amendment. Recommendations.
As Madam Chair, yes, it's taking off recommendation D. The words at the end are once approval for the board for the construction and plans have been obtained. I believe right in this report, I was informed that there was a previous report on a grant or to the community trust to construct the tiny settlement. So we recommend that be amended.
So effectively, the old plans have already been approved.
Okay, so D is not there.
Only,
Oh, it's been amended.
yeah, only the last bit is taken a rest of.
Into Miriam actions. Plans and
Doesn't need approval, so I'll get it up. Okay, thanks for that. We do agree with the recommendations today, which is good. And also to recognise that that construction plans have been obtained, which is good. We're just disappointed that it's taken us a year to get to this point, and we have received a lot of conflicting advice from various council staff. The outcome of this means that the quotes that we obtained last year for all the construction work to be done will now need to be readjusted, which is unfortunate. And we also planned, we've been speaking with the Polytech stonemasonry course people, and they had agreed to use their students to do the footings and some of the pathways and so on as part of the project. That course is no longer in existence, so we'll need to go and find some extra funding for that. So again, the delays have been really disappointing. We just want to get on with it. We've got the support of the community, the support of the council now, which is great, and it's a fantastic project, which is really going to be an asset to Cromwell and an asset to Old Cromwell.
Unfortunately, in retrospect, the delays have happened and we're at a point where we can move on. So, but thank you for your thoughts. Was there any further things that you wish to add, or can we go into the report now? So, back to you.
I regard the report as read. Madam Chair, this is just basically to extend the management agreement that we've got with the council's got with Linz. The area did not extend to where the Chinese settlement will be erected. Shown in figure 1, the blue area that we need to get amendment to our management agreement, which then would lead to an amendment to the lease with Cromwell Incorporated. So hence the recommendation to for approval to approach that is for amendment to the management agreement.
Any questions?
Yeah, I'm going to suggest a change to recommendation D after that changes were made. I've got a further change to put in as a result. I think it should be.
Goes back up, please, Sarah, so we can see them.
I just think after the word village, it should be subject to it complying with the Linz Council management agreement and the Council of Cromwell lease, just to make sure it's quite clear, because they are the precedent documents. So I think that's the right thing to do for sure, because you don't want to be in a situation where
sees that it's all airtight. Yeah.
then I only hope and pray that Linz don't do what they do good at.
Is what we're talking about. Last year we were told that it was up to us to arrange for the management agreement. We did that, and Janine was tonight online and about 30 minutes. So it's not a difficult process.
Okay. Back to the recommendations.
And the discussion part.
Yeah.
The application is not.
Reference to promotions incorporated. Is this a project sitting with the promotions group or
Nothing to do with promotions group.
it's Cromwell District Community Trust?
So in 1992, so honestly,
Yeah.
in 1992, it started off as an Old Cromwell were going to do Chinatown. And it sort of got a wee bit of momentum and then stopped. Then in 2004, the promotion group took it on board with our then manager, Elizabeth Williamson, and then she died and she lost traction. Now, Community Trust to take it on board. So it's been a long process
Yeah.
for Old Cromwell. but we're 100% behind.
Okay. Page number 74. Let's have just a quick read through that amendment recommendation. Again. Agrees to Old Cromwell Incorporated to enter into a memorandum of understanding with Cromwell Districts Community Trust to enable the construction of the replica Chinese village, subject to the proposal complying with the Land Information New Zealand requirements released with Old Cromwell. With the other recommendations to stand as they were.
It's clunky.
It is clunky.
I would rather have said with the refer directly to the LINZ Council management agreement and the council Old Cromwell fleet. And that's quite clear what the things are.
Okay.
Can you just repeat that, please, Neil?
The Land Information New Zealand.
Why with the Land Information New Zealand / council management agreement and the council Old Cromwell Incorporated lease. I love seeing the top I voted.
Yeah. That's great. We got
Does it need to say come on?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does need to have it there. Yeah.
And it should be council Old Cromwell lease, that's the parties. Yeah. Yeah.
And the council
/ Old Cromwell.
release down the any last line of the. That's all. Agree. Going.
And that
And the
council /
council / Old
Oh, I'm
Cromwell.
sorry.
Yeah. You got it.
question.
Yeah.
That to be confusing.
Does it need to say Lynn's
No, just a splash. Just like done with the LINZ.
Just with the bus, yeah.
council minutes?
Slash rather than a quick amount.
Yeah.
You really wouldn't pressure on
And
it.
between the LINZ council, it should say management agreement.
Sorry. Hang on. Sorry, Neil, there was one.
So LINZ council management agreement.
Yeah,
Lynn's
Yeah.
council.
Yeah, it should say council, something administrative
Amount of it, couple of.
management.
And then you need the A on the
Yeah.
green bit.
Now shut up.
Right, thanks for your patience.
Right, let's read it and make sure it actually makes sense now. We've played around in the middle of the sentence. Agrees to Old Cromwell Incorporated to enter into a memorandum of understanding with Cromwell and Districts Community Trust to enable the construction of the replica Chinese village, subject to the proposal complying with the Land Information New Zealand / council management agreement and the council / Old Cromwell Incorporated lease.
Could you
Oh, something.
move D, well, leave D as is, but then, stops at construction of the replica Chinese village, full stop, create a new recommendation, notes that this approval is subject to.
Might
Split it into two, because it.
Yeah, that might be better because it is just too clunky. Yes, do it. Everything is all watching you, that's me, really, isn't it?
Got a pair of binoculars if you want.
Context and let this.
Actually, what I did too, Lynn's have obviously downsized their organisation and in the process of downsizing. So the staff example that they had to support New Zealand wide, it's a lot less than what it was maybe 12, 18 months ago. So
Just after they just looked them up.
we've got a priority of that down this part as well.
The D now reads, agrees to Old Cromwell Incorporated to enter into a memorandum of understanding with Cromwell Districts Community Trust to enable construction of the replica Chinese village. And E notes that the agreement is subject to proposal complying with the Land Information New Zealand / Council Management Agreement and the Council / Old Cromwell Incorporated lease.
Then you need an F after that.
Yes, we need an F, not another D, not two Ds.
Let's do the alphabet correctly.
Yes, that's usually applied. Yeah. All right. Do I have a mover and a second? And thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Mary. All in favour?
Aye.
Aye. Staying in Old Cromwell. Let's build a wall. Let's build a wall.
That was comfortable.
For the Mexicans. Page 1914. Okay, welcome back.
This report is regarding the construction of a retaining wall. The request was made by Old Cromwell Incorporated to erect this wall, retaining wall, as indicated on figures 1 to 3. And basically, it's just to assist with stones and things falling into the dumpster trail going through the precinct thing. So the request and the recommendation is just to approve the construction of the retaining wall. As in the report, I've had an indication from the building unit that no building consent is required for the construction of the wall.
Discussion.
I just got a question. I'm assuming that management agreement enables this to happen between Lindsay and the
So
council.
this is on, not on the lakefront part of it, it's on the, it's actually on the management agreement part of it, so we don't need to amend that.
No, but what I'm saying is that does the council's management agreement with Lynn's enable us to approve this?
Yes.
That's the key thing.
Second. Sarah, thank you. Wally, all in favour? Thank you. So that takes us to page 99, item 25.2.7, the update on the Cromwell water treatment plant and full fair.
Oh, yeah.
I have not got to press this week. Jesus, perhaps this week is busy. It's not got to play. Oh, no. Just feels expensive. That's my 3 p.m. bubble. Here we go. Yeah, but that's ignore it. I mean, when you said that.
Yeah, so I got. Yes, yep.
5.9 to a company.
They're making a big batch of sausages and they're grinding it. It can't be that bad. My wife hasn't been touched.
Long time.
We really have, we regained our equilibrium and the earth is sorry. Right.
Nothing happens in South.
We ready, Tang?
Yeah.
Yeah. We like in it.
Good afternoon. I've just come for a quick update on the Cromwell water upgrades. It's the construction of the new water treatment plant at Nav Road and the upgrade of the ball field down by the Alpha Street playground area. We finished the detailed design. We put a report up to council on 29th of January to approve procurement of that work. So we advertised 10 on the 7th of March. We ended up getting 3 tenders, I can tell you that much, I think. And we expect to do an award of that work in early April. There's a key piece of equipment that comes with that, which is a UV reactor, which we pre-ordered outside the contract works so that wouldn't hold up the critical part of the project. That's due to arrive in Littleton Port on the 6th of April. So it feels like the timing is quite good for that. So, yeah, that's pretty much all we've got for that. Once we get the contract in place, we'll be able to provide a much more detailed program and financial forecast on that work. Every second council meeting will produce a status report for that, shows all that detail. And the following Cromwell Community Board meeting will submit that report to you guys as well.
Thank you. So on page 99, we just have our recommendation that the report be received. Information. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Cheryl. Thanks for keeping us in the loop. All in favour, I forgot that, but all right.
Thank you.
That takes us to road name approval report for stage 5 and 6 of the Wooing Tree. Note that Cheryl is going to stand aside.
I'll take the report as read. So the proposal before you is for the naming of 2 roads on page 111 of the report. It has the roads labelled 3 and 4 on the image here. The proposed road names is Petrichor Court and Muir Court, and information has been provided by the applicant to support both the proposed names. So I'll hand to the chair for any questions.
Discussion.
There was one comment. What's the report? With the supporting information, there was a suggestion that maybe the other options could be added to the list of other approved names or pre-approved names for roads. We could do that, maybe. What's involved with adding to that list?
So it's a list that's maintained by council, and we from time to time review that list and look at other options and suggestions that we have had. Occasionally we do get service requests or the community write into us with suggestions for names that we'd normally bring to the board on a time by time basis. So that could be added to the resolution to add that to the list along with the supporting blurb against those other names if they are not chosen as well.
I think it's a good idea, otherwise we're never going to get there.
Well, we're in this environment, we strike while you're on top, right?
And I don't know if there's a formal process to review the list from time to time, but if there was, then you could pick that as part of that and how they got there, because then you've got a reason as to why they got there. Because we know there's names here that have just appeared because they happened many, many years ago.
So we're talking Marsh, Bolton.
I've already got a marsh, you won't be getting 2 marshes in Cromwell, you've got Marsh Place already.
Oh, so the on names for Arthur, Chalmers and Vulcan.
Yeah.
Just out of interest, Chalmers, just in this a reference to Nathaniel Chalmers, pastoralist and eventually he was played by an Iron Chief in Tyler. What's the answer to that? Do you know the names of Iron Chief?
Yeah. They're paper about it for the name of the markers. Yeah, it's off in the list of my table, I think.
Recut.
Recut, is it? Yeah, just recut. Yeah. I think the logic's quite good about Mueller.
The logic about Mueller is good, and I think that's probably quite sound.
Petrichor is sort of, look at the name and think, well, I know we've got some interesting names with Rhino and some of those other ones, but I'm just wondering how some people are going to look at that and they're going to be able to pronounce it right first up. That's my only sort of thing I had to stop and really think about how to say it.
Names get spelled out right either, are they? You're spelling in the structures.
Now, and is that a reason to say it's the wrong way? I don't know. It's just intuitively me, I'm not convinced.
Petrichor Court.
think it brings it.
That's a bird sign.
No, complicated.
Isn't it a big enough street for Otto? That's a little weedy street. He's going to get his name on something in the district. It's a little one.
But it is opposite of fruit.
No, it's the one, when we redo all of that, though, we're going to put a road that goes through the fruit and then. So, I could have called that.
You're no way. When are you going to get back up?
At the end of the term.
I say, but I think we should add those other three to it. That's my input. To the list, sorry.
To the list.
Yeah.
Do you think that the name Chalmers or the name Beaker should be added to the list, and does that need a little bit more investigation to find out if sure we've got that right? Are we happy with Petrichor? So people are happy with Mueller.
Happy with each call.
In the vein of all those other Cromwell streets that are difficult to read.
Well, these myself are really easy to think about.
Yeah.
Just thinking alternatively, resolution could include us reviewing the list of any names and bringing a revised list to the community board in the future. Meeting, if you didn't want to consider just adding Arthur Chalmers to the list now. As well.
I think a review of the list is probably timely.
Yeah.
I've had a member of the public ask me about how to get their family name on the list, and she was going to email me, but hasn't. So
We'll set a bit of think about how best to
go about that.
Because it could be an option to canvas the community or something, but just as an obvious time we're asking the community for a lot.
There is all dozens on the list, though, right?
There is.
Yeah. Suppose the issue is that they don't resonate necessarily with people. Chosen to use them at this point.
I think, and the other thing about the current list is a lot of names are just there because it's a fallen soldier. And with no disrespect, yes, they're a fallen soldier. That may not be a reason. And how they got there at that time was just because there was a bit of a brain dump done by someone around the memorial and got all the names down, so I think. That's the only context for some of them. So some of these also probably need at some stage some, what's the word, a better review as to why they're there and if it is appropriate. In fact, you know,
Yeah, I mean, and there's a big long piece in here about gear, but we've
you've got to get, you're not going to get other things.
Nice.
I would have thought in terms of variety, we've probably got enough names that we can work on at the moment, and with what GP's saying, it's probably not a bad idea to put that with a review at some stage. Just don't say when, because you've got other things to do that are more important. Like the speed limit on Bannockburn Road and stuff.
Could you not just say, you know, with a view to adding these three names? A review of the list with a view to possibly adding these three names at some stage.
Yeah.
That would work, would it?
It's better than palming it off.
Yeah.
Something like this trip going with Chalmers, not the actuals.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you do one, you do both.
Yeah.
You can't do one without the other.
Okay, so with Petrichor and Mueller, we're saying, yeah, do it. Yeah, cool. So the recommendations are on page 108. We only just need to give some direction about, we think that we could add some other names, so we don't need that as a resolution, do we?
Just direct.
Yeah, so that was really
Consider an update of the list and the inclusion of the
names suggested in the report.
Yes, in the report, alternative names suggested in the report. And we'll have a year to think about how best to do that piece of work, because obviously there's advantage of.
It might not be immediate.
Yes.
See, it's just about written.
It's called name this.
What is it called? What is the list called?
Road naming one.
It is included here somewhere.
Is there? It's just called Cromwell Area Road Name Options. Right. So we agreed that 2 new roads within the Working redevelopment to be named Petrichor Court and Beulah Court, and the board requested that the Cromwell area road naming option list was reviewed and that the alternative names in the report were considered as part of this process. Over in seconder. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Mary. All in favour? While we are between items, I am going to step down from the chair. I need to go and attend another meeting momentarily. I invite Bob to come up to take place, please. I will be back.
Sounds ominous.
But apologies.
Block the door.
Speed management.
No, excuse me.
It's not you, but two. Come on, you said to go. Get out of the way.
So we move on to item 25, 2.9, speed management consultation proposal. Quentin. Oh, we've got Ollie here as well, please. So. Okay.
Good afternoon. I'll be taking the report as read, but for context, so unfortunately, our previously approved speed management plan last year was nullified by the setting of speed policy 2024. However, there was strong support for the speed management plan. So what we're hoping to do is to go out to consult again. What we've done is gone through the new rule and made sure that all the proposed speed limits we're putting forward are compliant, which has led to certain changes. The key ones, we've included the Pisa moorings. Pisa moorings. On the speed zone, which is in part. There's also an option to consult on both 60 km/h to 80 km/h on certain roads, which includes Mullion Point Road, Courtsville Road, and the surrounds in Bannockburn and Clark Road near Pisa moorings. And we've also included Munro Road, Church Lane and Jolly Road, which is to account for the NZTA that will be amended for the school zone through the terrace school. And we've also removed the small section of Partridge Road as well. However, regards to those changes, we have tried to keep it as close to the original SCP as possible. Pages 132 and 133 show the Mullion Point Road and Courtsville roads, which are the ones that we're looking at the different speeds. So we have had it confirmed that we can consult on a speed range to see what the hunger is from the public. The one that we're most sort of looking to do that for is the multi-point road, because under the previous consultation that we completed, there was an appetite for that to be dropped down to 60, which under the previous rule weren't actually allowed to do. 80 was the only option. So under the new rule, we can go down to 60, which is the same for the ones on page 33 as well. Any of those speeds are compliant under the new rule. However, the 60, the lowest speed limit, is probably more sort of the operating speed is probably close to that. However, the 80 kilometres per hour would sort of require less working, because it sort of ties in with the other speed limits in the area.
Hand back for any questions?
Alan Morris. What's different about
Politically correct, if you want it.
So
background lane to be included in 50K?
it has a footpath. That's the key difference. So the new rule is quite prescribed. The lowest speed that's available to the street with a footpath of its type is 50 kilometres an hour. The other areas don't have a footpath, which is why we can go down to the 40.
Devon Cotter Place has a footpath and is in that zone, but it doesn't meet the minimum length. And we've had a conversation around how, I guess, silly it would be driving at 40 to turn onto a dead end road and speed up to 50.
It also has access to the cycling trail as well.
So
Common sense prevails for some reasons, but not for others.
Pretty much, it comes down to those minimum consumption.
and if we could do, I mean, obviously putting a sign at the start would be the easiest option for us.
Yeah.
From a signage perspective.
2 signs, job done.
But this, it wouldn't get approved. It's essentially.
Because, so just as a recap, this here is us agreeing to a consultation document. Is it?
So this is providing us any feedback to then present this to council at an upcoming council meeting. We're looking at the April meeting. So this is just for any feedback, and if there is feedback, that's great that we can include in our report to council. But yeah, the resolution is looking for recommending to council.
Yeah, so if council approves, what happens then? Does it just happen, or is it going to?
It's going out for public consultation, and the new rule is quite prescriptive around the public consultation. It includes doing cost benefit analysis on each of the roads, as well as a longer consultation term than previous, and a few other little nuances with how we engage with the public around that. So we'd be looking at going out after the long-term planning consultation, so at some point in May, for this, just to keep the process moving.
Sounds like there's not much wriggle room regardless, because the new rules are quite prescriptive by the sound of it.
So most of our previous, nearly all of our previous proposals did comply. However, there has just obviously been those couple of little changes, and I guess reconsulting's given us the opportunity to include a couple of others that come through quite heavily in the previous consultation.
Edwin Road, Pearson Road, Sandflat Road.
Yes.
Is that just going to be a rinse and repeat of the last lot of consultation?
It is asking the same question as the last consultation. How we ask for feedback this time is on quite prescribed around individual roads, as opposed to, say, the grouping of roads. And I think last time some of the consultation was, I guess, some of the interpretation around this new rule coming sort of might have not entirely painted the picture of how it does look. So I guess this gives us quite a clean starting point to reconsider those options, and they do meet the rule at 80 or 100 for both of those three.
The council still going to approve the process once the feedback it'll go to council for sign off.
We're going to sign up for consultation. No, we're going for consultation. Council will approve and the new speed management plan, so to speak, and then we'll actually have to go to NZTA for approval. We still can have, I guess, veto rights on that.
And the only thing I've got an observation is I'm sure I read somewhere in the report about the mention of Fruit Growers Road. But there's no picture of Fruit Growers Road and I couldn't find it in the text anywhere. Not that I just from the community board, don't really care as such in terms of here, but I couldn't find it. Did I miss it? Or
Oh, no, there isn't a map in there because we're
No.
not proceeding with that one.
Fruit Growers Road doesn't comply.
Okay.
With the new law, yeah, so yeah, that's a position in
I'm
different.
trying to piece it together and I couldn't quite make sense of it, so I thought I'd just say what's I seen.
So, Bartrick Road, north end of Sunderland.
Yeah.
And Fruit Growers Road have been removed from this consultation.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, right. So it just said reference and I went looking for it, I couldn't find it, so I thought, oh, I missed it. Doesn't matter.
Anybody else, any comments or questions? So the resolution is just simply to accept the report. That's to receive the report and accepts the level of significance and recommends the proposed candidates of the Cromwell Ward to Council. Those are the two recommendations. Cheryl? And second, Holly? Those in favour? So we'll move on. Thank you very much. That's it, Holly. And we'll move on to the Cromwell Finance Report for the period ending the 31st of December. And welcome to Donna. So sorry, I should just say that's on page 144, 25 to 10.
So I take the paper as being read. The financial report for 31st of December 2024, there was an unfavourable operating variance of 509,000 against the revised budgets. Revenue has an unfavourable variance of 447,000. This is due to grants and subsidies. So far, year to date, we have received 1.7 million from CLT for the Cromwell Memorial Hall. And that's all the grants that we have in their bucket at the moment. Internal interest revenue, user fees and other reserve contributions are higher than budget, with the interest revenue being driven from surplus reserve balances. And this will be impacted from the Cromwell Memorial Hall project as those reserves are drawn down. Expenditure has an unfavourable variance of $62,000. The areas above budget include the rates expense, professional fees, grants and staff costs. This is offset with underspends in fuel and energy, other costs, contracts and internal interest expense. After reviewing the expenditure, most of the variances are due to timing. However, the rates expense being unfavourable will remain for the rest of the year. Some of this, though, is offset by the higher income from rentals and hires on investment properties. Capital expenditure has a favourable variance of $5.4 million, with 44% of the total revised budget being spent. So projects are all in different stages, and I know a few that have been completed since I have written this report. But major projects being the Cromwell Memorial Hall, the Low Hall playground is complete. I've just been informed that the terrace tennis court resurfacing has also been complete, with the Necklace Ultra reserve tree removal being planned for early April. Reserves as at 30 June 2024 had a closing balance of $25.23 million in surplus. It is estimated to finish this financial year with a surplus of $12.1 million. This is after taking into account projects that have been carried forward from the previous year and the annual plan for 2025 movements. Are there any questions?
Just about the rates expense, I assume that's the rates that we pay to ourselves and to the LIC. So we just didn't quite get the budget right. Those councils charged more than what we were expecting.
Yes, that's correct. Yes. It's a difficult one to gauge on both sides.
Timing is the other thing too, when you're going to do it.
Any other comments or questions?
Just a comment, I think I've raised this before, but when you see a favourable variance of, what is it, 35 grand for planned maintenance work that hasn't happened at the Cromwell Town Centre Reserves and Sports Pavilion, just wonder what that is, because, there's no money for the town centre, but there's 35 grand favourable in there.
I think that just comes down to just of the operational maintenance that needs to be carried out, maybe painting or something like that. Unfortunately, I don't.
Yeah.
There could well also be an voice budget issue as well, in terms of like, you could bring that back to me.
Okay. So recommendation is that the report be received. Do we have a second? Mary, thank you. All those in favour? Aye. Aye. Thank you very much, Don. And we'll move on to the mayor's report.
Thank you very much.
This is on page 149.
I've got a verbal report to you, which I will then email to Sarah to say to take that. It has been a very busy time since I last was able to join you. I just wanted to cover off a couple of highlights that I thought you might be interested over the past 6 weeks. In the last couple of weeks, I've been fundraising for the inaugural Mayoral Challenge, which was put out by Jim Bolt, former Mayor of Queenstown, raising money for the Child Cancer Foundation. So I held a sausage sizzle at New World last weekend, which was very successful. Thank you to the generosity of our locals. And I am waiting with bated breath to see where I sit on the Netflix scale. So we'll wait. If I'm in the top 10, we'll hear about it. Yeah, we'll hear about it. Yeah, multiple times. Last.
Who do you hope to beat?
Next door. That's what
If you don't, you say.
sorry. Quickly donate $1,000 last weekend, I welcomed 70 psychologists and psychiatrists from around the world to Clyde for the week, where they attend every second year for a conference that's organised by a local psychiatrist, I think he is, who's a professor out of the University of Auckland. They had a number of really high-flying people from around the world from all sorts of different academic achievements and then social good as well. So I did make sure to tell them that we are undergoing a mental health workforce crisis here, and that if any of them wanted to remain beyond the end of the week, that they should let us know. I attended a citizenship ceremony and made 20 new Kiwi citizens, which was wonderful. That is always a really fun day. Although the woman who has been here for 65 years is possibly not a new Kiwi. She's probably 65 years. Yeah, she's been a permanent resident here and she's just become a citizen, which is really exciting for her.
Where is she from?
Northern Ireland.
Pretty cool from here.
Yeah. Yeah. She came here as a child in the 60s. Yeah, with her family, which is pretty cool. And I also had, there was a local businessman from Alex who was the first person to read the oath into Reo Māori, which was really cool. His 2 kids were there. They are Kiwis through and through. This young lady was rocking a mullet from the travel. It's pretty impressive. He's committed to being a Kiwi. Yeah, no, they're not saying that. We had a very well attended Business South meeting and the event after, which highlighted the support that Film Otago Southland give to the local film industry, which is not just Netflix movies and blockbusters, it also includes commercials and that sort of thing around our area. We had a local water dump well meeting where council voted to continue the discussions around a joint CCO with 3 other councils, was momentarily 4 other councils, but I think we're back to 3 other councils, but we've got another meeting about that this evening. I had a couple of coffee and chats in Terrace and Cromwell, which were my first ones, and the Cromwell one in particular was very well attended down at Junction. It was, really neat to meet some people that I haven't previously met, and many of them came along slips of paper of things that they wanted to raise, and some came along just to say good job on particular issues. So that was positive. I met with John Christie to talk about the Cromwell branch of the Otago Polytech and what's on offer in our local area. And then Peter and I actually had a follow-up meeting with John and one of their executives out of Dunedin, just to highlight how important that asset is to our community and how we would really like to see that retained and actually grow. I think there's a real opportunity for them to grow, and John's got some great ideas of that and seems to be really keen on engaging with the community, which is awesome. Had a catch up with the local government Minister Simon Watts in Queenstown, with Minister Mark Padson in Alexandra, and also our local MPs Miles Anderson and Joseph Mooney. They attended Mount Benja AMP show, Central Otago, Aotearoa and Ranfurly. I think Mount Benja took the cake for being the hottest day. It was about 34 degrees when I left there. I had a really neat visit to the Roxburgh Dam with Craig from Mayor's Task Force for Jobs to meet a young person who's working for NB Century on the turbine replacements down there. It was really interesting, and it was very cool to see the enthusiasm from NB Century to have a young person from the local area working for them. They're so pleased with them. They're actually looking to move on in the company up the chain so that he can really have some fantastic career prospects there. And they are very supportive of other companies to come on board with that scheme as well. And attended the Waitangi Day celebrations in Queenstown, which were wonderful and lovely and went over there, but then lunch was somewhat interrupted by a call from Sally Fineman to say the Roxburgh Entertainment Centre was on fire. So that really changed the tone of the day, but some exciting conversations going on there for the community about what might rise from the ashes of that site. So yes, that is my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So can we just have a movement and a second to receive report of her worship and then thank you. Thank you. Sorry, Cheryl. Thank you. All those in favour? Yeah. So I'm going to come back to the member, to the chair's report, and we'll just move on to the members' reports. So we can start the side. Mary?
I have had an interesting, the most interesting discussion has been with the person who has replaced Neil at Contact Energy, Flat Gaiman. She's really keen to get to know the community. She's very aware of the role she's filling and the connections that were had in the community, and so I just advised her a number of people that she could reach out to, and advised her, it wouldn't hurt to come to community hall meetings, to reach out to the mayor, just to start building connections. Just expect message from her, and she'll come to community hall meetings. And I just said a bunch of names, and I said if you start asking all those people who you should meet with, then eventually you'll meet with everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Cheryl.
I attended the meeting that we had about the racecourse. That was actually quite interesting. I also attended the Monica AMP show. I did not take my dog because she disgraced herself last time. It's a race. The race is over before you ever realised it's a race. And then
She would have been a good company.
so I didn't take this one. But I went to the Old Cromwell meeting, and there's something I want to raise, and I think I want to bring it up with the board. Back in March 2001, we opened McNulty House. And, there's been considerable ratepay money that has been contributed to the renovation. It only took around about 6 to 8 months after that before the TNG was bowing off the walls and literally pinging off it. And so they have been trying since then to get this fixed. And personally, I do not think it should come out of the old Cromwell coffers, because they engaged designers, contractors, builders, and council signed it off. Now, I don't know how you qualify as a leaky building, but this building is definitely leaking, and it has been for quite some time. And it is quite distressing, because this was a building that we were so proud of, and it really did look nice. And if I think about the members of the board, they weed the gardens, they mow the lawns, they paint the windowsills, they look after the tenants as best they can. They do an awful lot of work, and it's, in my opinion, it's, I just think that they need some help. It's pity David wasn't here now, because I'd be asking him to actually go down and have a look at it at the McNulty House and just have a meeting with them, because it's really quite distressing. It actually ended up being quite a shoddy job. So I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention, and hopefully council or staff can perhaps liaise with Old Cromwell to see if we can actually come to some kind of resolution, because they are having to now spend more money to try and get this fixed.
And I could just comment, if it is a leaky building, if there are weather tightness issues, then that is quite a specific building code matter and potentially a legal claim, which would involve tradespeople, council, and all those involved. If it is a more aesthetic matter like the TNG internally, then that is a different matter, but if there's anything that you like me to contact, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, I would like. I think they are. I think they've been putting to hear out for quite some time. They have gone back to the contractors. They're just not getting resolved. And it would be really good if we could, because the building is lovely and it's an asset to the community, and it's great for the tourists. The whole of that little part of Cromwell is well looked after, and it would be really good if we could actually assist them in some way to get this back to what it was when it opened back in March 2001. Sorry, 21. 21.
Yeah, I was going to say again.
Yeah, 21. Yeah, March 2021. That's my gripe. I'm sure I will say.
So move on to Wally. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. So, yeah.
So in the last 6 weeks or so, I've attended a meeting with the Friends of Cromwell Cemetery. Had Business South ran an event, having lunch with the Prime Minister, so that was a lot more jovial discussion than when I last heard from him at the local government conference, I'm sure. Went to the Wanaka show, had a day in Naseby with my work colleagues, paid volunteer day basically through work, cutting wilding pines from a block just out on the Dan's Pass Road a bit further. That was satisfying to get rid of a few thousand of them. I went to the water park for the first time on the last session of the last day for the season. And I found myself on the local board for the Automobile Association local branch. So I had one of those meetings in the last 6 weeks as well.
Thank you very much, Wally. Neil?
Yeah, a little bit happening since the last board meeting. We had a hearings panel meeting on the 11th of February, so there's up the Terrace Road that we considered, still to be determined. Council done a lot of work on regional deals and joined with QRDC and the Taylor Regional Council to pick up a few initiatives that the government may or may not listen to. Time will tell. I don't know.
Maybe. Thank you.
And despite some of the comments that are out there, that means that we're trying to amalgamate, they're trying to take us over, they're more debt than us, they can't keep their stuff where it belongs and they're polluting the river. It all has no bearing on the regional deals, totally unrelated. So people should be quite happy to know that there's no connection, and those sort of things are not being contemplated as part of that. It's about the economic growth of the region, therefore of the country, which I think is the biggest driver of that. So all the rest is just hearsay and nonsense, to be perfectly honest. We'll see what happens though. Yeah, we had a council meeting on the 14th of February as well, which we had to update the LTP documents because of some increases that came through. We've also been able to put into the long-term plan that we'll be approving on Friday. Yeah, Friday. Some issues around the new contracts for the water services for both the facilities and for the reticulation side of things. We've been reported to the board that those contracts have now been awarded. Trilogy and Hogan there. So, and again, despite what people are saying about different things about that, it was done on the appropriate basis. And the fact that one of those companies is owned by overseas interest is like many companies in New Zealand has overseas shareholding or ownership. We had a council meeting then. I think what's the next thing on? Try to do this left hand. It's not very easy. We had a full council meeting on the 26th of February, a number of different things worked through. Mayor Tamer's already touched on the local water's done well, where that's going. And we've got to catch up again with that later today in a separate meeting. We've updated our 3 waters professional services panels, and I think we're going to be doing well on that. Council adopted its open spaces and recreation strategy, which I've been here before. Council from memory, if you might have seen it. And also reviewed our open spaces naming policy. So it's been left on the table for some further updates. Maria Burnett gave the same space strategy update that we've seen previously to the council as well. We received the report from the Secretary of Museums Trust, their performance agreement. The funding was extended until December 25. The pay for the development and investment strategy for the Cromwell Downland we've seen has gone to council and we're being processed. There's also more updates provided there. That done, so all there. Then I went at lunch with Prime Minister on the 6th. Thanks, Tamer. Yeah, quite interesting with what's being talked about, what the government's intending to try and do. It is about economic growth and trying to make New Zealand a better place as a result. Good luck to them doing that. So I think that's about all for stage for me. Very much for you.
Yes, good stuff. Just like the speaking.
Yeah.
Term 1 is always a fun one through school. I've spent much of the first 7 weeks of term in various school camps and activities. Always reminds me how lucky we are to live where we do. Spent a week at the Aquatic Centre, quite frankly, doing far too much activity for my liking. I walked 45th and biked about a bit in a day. I watched all that at a heart attack. But spent a couple of days down in Dunedin as well, down at the museum down there. And again, something that we throw out a wee bit of money from down here, but an amazing facility down there for our kids to experience. So kids really are really lucky around here. And on the 19th of March, I went to the Dunstan Zone Athletic competition that was held between all of the schools in the Dunstan Zone when it competed down there, and Molyneux Park yet again. I think one of the comments was that the turf looked so amazing, it looked like it could have been artificial. So apart from my son falling over and losing his shoe because it was so slippery, it was impeccable. So they've done a very good job down there. Long may that continue. They do keep that well. I attended a couple of puddle workshops for not-for-profit organisations, which have been really good, not massively attended. But the people that were there, I think, all got something really beneficial from it and some really good information. So I hope that we still see more of those coming through or repeat to them. They've been really beneficial to the people that were there, including myself. I toured the Memorial Hall site with the Women in Construction group a couple of weeks ago, which was awesome. Firstly, to see so many women in hard hats and interested in the project for a start, but quite a few of the council staff that weren't directly related to the project that were there. really cool to see them. It was an after hours thing, voluntary, people genuine interest in the project. Phenomenal from the inside. I haven't been inside looking up at those concrete panels before, and holy shit, that's a good building, isn't it? Can't wait to see that keep moving on. I thought it was really good to get a tour of that, as did you guys today. On the 17th of March, we had the Creative Communities Assessment Committee funding round, where we were able to give out some money to deserving projects around the region, including Cromwell, for various arts and creative, including Bannockburn and livestock in here. It's great to see so many different things happening outside of what you're used to seeing. It's a lot going on. And what else is I? And I would just like to note that we are all aware, and as the Ratepayers Association of Cromwell of Central Otago has been founded and is becoming quite vocal. And personally, I feel that I don't say enough to appease the people that are grumbling there. I don't think we necessarily have an awful lot of constructive communication, but I'd really like us to all make an effort. Like in this, the swan song of this term, it's not for looking ahead at the next term. I think I've tried really hard in this term to connect with anybody that's ever been interested to. I've had some really good conversations with people. I've had some really constructive conversations with people. The lack of comments on a lot of the posts that are there lately, I feel like there's a rabbit hole to fall down if you start too much. So it's not for not wanting to engage, but I don't know how we best do that as a group or an individual. I struggle to know what's best to say or not say. We say too much sometimes. I'm aware of that too. But I think we all do a good job. I think we all, our hearts are in the right place. And I think we do try and communicate. I think for looking towards next term, those that stand again, we could always do better, but I believe we're doing the right thing on the whole, and we do listen to people. But as our 2-second videos all attested the other day, anybody at any time, the whole point of us sitting in these chairs is that people can contact us, can air their concerns, can ask questions, can be asked for a contact that can help them in the organisation. And I think we should just need to reiterate that to anybody that is listening or watching this back later. That's what we're here for, and that's what we try. We can't get around everybody, but we are more than willing to try and speak to anybody that would like to. Well, personally, that's it.
Thank you very much for that, Sarah.
Can I just have an addendum to my report, please? No, it's not about that. No, it's more that given the recent serious accidents we've seen in the community, and I'll take my Chief Officer's hat on and just to acknowledge the support that we've had from the community for the tragedies that we've been attending, and not just the fire brigade, but all the other emergency services and first responders. Pretty well summed up, I think, by the best thing I've seen is we noticed down by the early learning centre in Barry Ave, next just north of the fire station past the shallows. It's pretty it's pretty special. So just to acknowledge the support the brigade's had. The members are in pretty good heart, and they will be in good heart until they're not, and they won't know they're not until they are. Which I know sounds really double Dutch, but that's just the way it works. It's been a tough time. And I think the places go and you see motor vehicle crash and you cringe just about every time, and then you see the word motorbike involved and you cringe even further. The team's doing a fantastic job, and all the first responders are as well. Just to acknowledge the community support. And while I've got the fire brigade hat on, it's just to remind people we are still in a prohibited fire season. Fires outside, even in a drum, because that just doesn't always work.
That will be. Thank you very much for that, Neil. It's very timely that you mentioned that. It will be noted in the report.
Or more frequent in terms of these motor vehicle crashes, or is it is it just the same, but there's been what's kind of your perception of it?
It's one of those things that, I was involved in the fire brigade for over 30 years, and first started, we got 37 calls the first year in 1993, and we had 184 last year. What's the difference? The population's grown hugely. but then so has the community changed along the way, you know, the number of traffic, the number of tourists, a whole lot of things, and there is no rhyme or reason. It just happens. We've been just, you know, unlucky. We've had a bit of a run lately. But, you know, our friends over in Tours in particular had won the other just prior to Christmas when there was 4 in one go type thing. So, yeah, it's just not better, not worse. You know, COVID was interesting. A good one to look at. Not so much traffic on the road. We still had not too many less calls than we had the year before. In fact, it might be more from memory. There's no rhyme or reason. But there is no doubt that people's driving is, in my view, there's more traffic. Therefore, the driving is worse. There's a whole lot of unnecessary risks being taken along the way, but I guess what, we're all human, we make mistakes as well. So it's a lot of things. The police are, you know, rightly pointing out speed and alcohol being factors. What have been the factors and the ones that we've been to, don't know. We'll find out in due course. But you know, probably some connection somewhere. But yeah, it's just one of those sort of things that just seems to, every now and again, someone gets a bit of a run. It doesn't sound good, but it's probably just our turn. Waiting for it to stop and someone else to do it, but actually I'd rather it didn't happen at all for anybody, so we'll see.
Inattention probably also plays a good part of it as well. Thank you very much for that, Neil. So my report, I've not been too busy, but on the 10th of March, I attended a meeting of the Friends of Cromwell Cemetery that we've discussed earlier on today. On the 14th of March, Friday the 14th, I was actually the starter and also later on the scorer for the Bailey's Charity Golf Day, which raised something like $16,000. And the proceeds of that were split between Cure Kids and the Lions Club project to help with the Community Emergency Helipad project. And the only other thing was that on Thursday, the 6th of March, I declined an invitation to lunch with the Prime Minister because I didn't feel it was necessary to pay $110 plus GST for a Marmite sandwich and an apple. And that's my report. So we just move on to accept the members' reports. I have a mover and a seconder, please, that those reports accepted. Mary and Molly. Thank you very much. Yeah, and we now move on to the governance report. That's on page 152, 25.2.14. Thank you.
No, look at that. Just as it's your turn to speak, and thought got away with it.
You're right. Yes. You were saying. Yes. Could we do that, David? Cheryl's report, you weren't here for that, but Cheryl mentioned, well, actually just like to repeat what was said earlier on.
I just wanted to bring what I said with economic gas. I'm not ABR of the condition of it.
I mean, but I am.
Yes, well, basically for the 6 to 8 months of it, they're changing both of the new, mainly the front rooms.
Yeah.
And they've been unable to really wet.
Yeah.
So, best I knowledge, they have one of the contractors had come and hello.
Yeah.
But realistically, they're now having to leave in the pocket and pay again for this, and I don't personally believe that they should.
Yeah.
Council signed it off as well, so they're involved too. And I just wondered if there was some way that you could actually engage with them, maybe go and have a look at it.
Yeah.
And see if there's something that council can do to assist them to get this building dried out, because as I just said, it's leaking. It's literally.
We need to talk, because if it's a building code breach, that's a legal.
We don't know you know, in terms of the legalities or the leaky building or anything like that. But certainly this building is leaking. From the inside, I don't know, but it's, yeah, if you could do that, I'm sure they would really appreciate.
Yeah.
You having a look at it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm that, yeah. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Bob, for, we've lost him. Taking over in my absence, I appreciate it. And I'm assuming that we need to get it from over in a second for those reports. Please, I've done that. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to keep my chair's report very brief, seeing as I held everybody up. That I just keep it to how much I thoroughly enjoyed going through the building at the Cromwell Memorial Hall today, and what a wonderful venue, asset, project that this is for our community. I'll move my report. Thank you. All in favour?
Right.
Thank you. Righty ho, which takes us to.
Sorry, that was Mary.
Wally and Cheryl. No. Sorry. Wally and Cheryl. And then that takes us to page 152 and the status reports. And we have the current status of the Cromwell Memorial Hall in there. It's great. Is there anything that people want to note in the governance report?
I've just raised a couple of things today about
Yeah.
Bennett Brown Road. It seemed to have slipped out of it.
Yes, so to ensure Bannockburn Road is included in there as Gear Estate and then in confidential, but it was in status reports as well.
Yeah, I think they just got to bring it back into this.
Okay. Yeah. Oh,
What about town centre? Is it this section?
That's. The town centre is closed because part of the LTP.
yeah. It's
Supposed to be current, will come up as the LTP, and then from there the funding's approved. I think, if I understand.
In the last few months, there would have been a document prepared for inclusion in the LTP, right? Is that how it's working?
So I could talk briefly to this, is that we have bought, and this is no, yes, I don't actually talk to the tonight. We bought materials for the workshop that we then went to council, and you passed the resolution basically is to defer and to come back and do more work for the next LPP. So I've been co-sponsor in those actions with the register, and it has got to the point where there's no more work really this financial year to be done, was my understanding though, and that work on the town centre is going to kick off again, is it in the next financial year, post July, is that your understanding?
And we've just got to have some discussions around that.
Yeah. Because there is money included in the LTP for continuing the design work.
There is. The stand this conversation that we on just before Christmas, and I got to the point, Jarvis closed, and then see waiting for the come back. So the answer your question, there has been no report prepared. Find that Luke is a first plan here. Yeah.
So the recommendation is the report we received. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Sarah. All in favour?
Aye.
That moves us to the the date of the next meeting, which is Tuesday the 6th of May, and the resolution to exclude the public. I have a mover and a seconder for the recommendation to exclude the public. Neil and Sarah. All in favour?
Aye. I won't be at the May meeting, unless I decide to join from where I'm going to be. I'm not going to tell you where I'm going to be, so I'm on the country.
Okay.